My name is Tony Tatuni. I've thrown the wildest poker games anyone's ever seen. Never expected someone to die in front of me, but it happened. I started hustling at a very young age. I started my first business around 16, 17 years old from the garage of my parents' house making hair products. I made a lot of money doing that. By the time I was 19 years old, I'd already accumulated more than $1 million in savings. I had a lot of money, I wanted to have fun. One of the things I wanted to do was go to nightclubs. They wouldn't let me in. I'd make fake IDs and they'd catch me with fake IDs. I always had problems getting in. Turns out you can't get into nightclubs if you're under 21 unless you own the nightclub. So I ended up buying a nightclub. I was out all night, partying all night. I had a lot of cash around me. I spent a lot of money. One of my friends was a really big gambler, and I started gambling with him. The first time I won, I started out with $40,000, and I made that money into $900,000. Playing poker was just very fascinating. And once I learned how to play poker, I realized there's much more to poker than people know. In poker, one of the biggest mistakes people make is playing the cards. You're playing the person, not the cards. How they blink their eye, how their hand movements are. One of the things that I do best, talking to people, trying to get reactions out of people.
If you call, I know you're gonna win. The way I run tonight.
It's too much, I can.
Yeah.
The logic of psychology. What do you got? Don't lie. You'll know whether or not you're playing an amateur the minute he starts speaking back. Good players, they will never respond to you. One of my friends invited me to a home game. When I went there, I realized that a lot of the players that are there are recreational, non-professional players, and I pretty much cleaned up the table. At some point, I decided, why don't I just start my own home games? I can get all these amateur players to come play with me. When you go to casinos or other games, you don't know who's playing, and you have to sit there and evaluate how everyone plays for the first hour to understand who's the professional, who's not. With my own home games, I was able to go after my victims immediately. I identified them before they even sat down. If I know there's a Fortune 500 CEO that barely plays, I know he's gonna be one of my victims. He's the one I'm gonna go after. They become your fish. And that's how I accumulated my winnings, by going after those people. If I know that someone is a professional player and he plays all the time, that's the guy I want to put on the back burner and not really focus on him. So even if I'm going head to head with him and I have a good card, I play it very, very tight. I think twice before I make certain decisions. Whereas with the guy I know is going to be a weak link, I put in everything I have. I go very aggressive and I go after him. Since I'm already in the nightclub business and I already know how to put great parties together, why don't I incorporate my poker games with my parties and make it one fun place for everyone? And then I take their money. Even if they lose money, they're happy because the entertainment was worth it. When I first started, it was more of like bigger parties, 5 tables, 50 people, entertainers, naked girls, and little people running around serving drinks. Once they're playing, obviously they're trying to concentrate to win money, but most of the times they're losing. It's not my fault if they get distracted. As a professional, I'm focused on my game and I'm playing it to win money. At the end of the night, I've never had a complaint. Everybody left there happy and, telling everyone that they had the best time of their life. What makes the game illegal is if you, as the host, take a rake. So if you take a small percentage of the pot and put it aside for the house, that makes it illegal. But I don't do that because I actually participate in these games and I play. And that's where I make my money, by playing. I played an honest game and I won a lot of money. And I ended up becoming a professional gambler. I became known for having the best poker games, the best parties in Los Angeles. I played $1,000 buy-ins, and over a decade, I worked it to 100,000, 500,000, and then they became extremely outrageous, where there was almost $1 million or $2 million a person in a game. All that money meant a lot of attention, and not all of it was good. Suddenly, out of nowhere, I have cheaters that are trying to come out there and screw my game. People know that there's so much money on the table at my games, they're willing to cheat. I learned about sophisticated cheats. The way the invisible ink cheat works is you could buy cards that already have an invisible ink written on there identifying the cards. Some people bring their own invisible ink with them. They put their fingers in their pockets, they bring it out, and they mark all the high cards as they're playing. There's special glasses. When you wear it, you could see the invisible ink. Or what the professionals do is they wear contacts. That's one of the reasons a lot of the players, they always hide their cards. The RFID cheat is a completely different level of its own. These are cards that have little markings on the sides. You can't see it by the naked eye. You need a camera. They have devices that they install in the roof of their home. Some people wear them on their t-shirts on a button. They have a keychain. Anything that you could put a hidden camera in is all that's needed. The camera will then scan that deck of cards. It'll give you every card and the way they're set up in the deck. Then send a signal to the earpieces deep in their ears. So if you're looking at someone's ears, you're not gonna be able to tell. I've also had people bring in their own set of chips that look identical to mine. Every cheat works, and also these dealers are not making money, so any of them can get paid to switch cards, and it's extremely easy for them to do. I learned about cheating the hard way.
It's my day.
It was a smaller game, $5, $10 blinds, 3 or 4 tables playing that night. I noticed this guy kept winning.
Boom. Lightning strikes twice, guys.
And I walked up to the table. I sat down and I started playing with him.
Hey, Ryan, deal me in.
As I watched him play, I knew right away he's an amateur player and he's doing some sort of a trick. Anything he played, it would have like a perfect hand.
Oh, man, thank you.
I saw him move his hand up and down from the table to his pocket. I immediately knew he was cheating. It's an old trick where they hide cards in their sleeves and then they bring it out when they need it. As soon as he won the pot,
Boom, baby. It's my day. Hey, let's get a bottle over here, right?
that's when I looked at the dealer and I said, stop, count these cards. When they cheat, they have to put the card that they stole back into the deck. And I didn't allow that.
There's one missing.
And I looked on the bottom of the table and I noticed there was a card laying there. I picked up the card and I looked at him and I said,
where did this card come from?
I don't know.
I'm gonna ask you one more time. Where did this card come from?
I'm not gonna repeat myself.
he was up $14,000.
I'm not giving you your money.
He said, no, you're gonna pay me. And I said, no, I'm not. I said, I just caught you cheating. And he said, no, you didn't. I don't know who threw that card down there. You're the only one on the table winning over and over and over. It's you. I saw his face. It was completely cold and just blank.
You're gonna pay me.
As soon as I said, no, I'm not, he pulled a gun out, he put it right to my head, and he said, you're paying me now. Obviously, I was very scared. I said, okay, look, put the gun down, we'll talk. And he goes, I'm not putting the gun down, you're gonna pay me. I had my security, but I'm a businessman. I'm looking to make money, and I didn't want anyone hurt. Even though the guy was a cheater, I just wanted him out of my business. paid him, he left. I never saw that player again. That night was a big loss for me. When you're playing in these games, you can't trust anyone. We just made the limits higher and higher and higher over the years, and it just became smaller and smaller and more exclusive with just one table, 9 players. When I started, it was a lot of cash going around. We were very scared about this cash, so amongst friends, we learned that crypto was the way to go. So we would ultimately all put our money in crypto and exchange crypto at the end of the game. Much safer way to do it. I catered to some of the wealthiest people in Los Angeles, or, you know, people that would fly in from all around the world. A-listers, CEOs, very well-known doctors, investment bankers. If you had serious money, you were definitely coming to my game. My very last game that I played, which was maybe a month ago, unfortunately, something really, really bad happened. This guy was known to be an extremely big player. It was his first time playing at my game. That night, I had a very low-key game. Just like all my games, I wanted that night to be a night for everyone to remember, except it happened for the wrong reasons. Someone was gonna end up dead. It was a normal weeknight. I had invited some of the regular players. Most of them were very wealthy businessmen. One of them was a lawyer. There was a Fortune 500 CEO. So I knew everyone that's coming. This was the only guy that I didn't know well, but I knew of him through one of my really good friends who's also a very big gambler. And I didn't think anything of it. I mean, this is a guy that was well known in the gambling world, and I wanted him to play with me. We didn't have any security because it was a private game, barely anyone there. Usually you would expect something like this to happen when you have a big wild party and so forth, but this was not one of those nights. Buy-ins was $25,000, but the minute he sat down, he wanted to raise it to $100,000. Within the first 10 minutes, he lost that $100,000. And then he wanted everyone to raise to $250,000. Everybody was all with it because they saw how horrible of a player he was. The atmosphere was incredible. Everybody was happy, excited. I was excited. You know, we knew we had a big fish that's gonna make everybody money that night. He started betting bigger. Everybody else said, okay, let's go big. I don't think he played more than 30 minutes before he was down almost 300 grand. He was losing money. He was really mad. You know, you expect that. You expect that from a person that's losing.
What?
He was talking on the phone. He was arguing.
I'll get it to you later tonight. Just wait, okay?
He said, I'll be right back. I gotta go see someone. He went and talked to someone. He came back in, sat down.
Sorry.
Got on the phone. He was arguing again.
I don't want to take this phone call right here, right?
He goes, I'll be right back. He walked to the door, opened the door. Someone shot him twice in his head. We were maybe 15 feet away from him. I first thought something broke in the kitchen because it was just like pop, pop. I ran up there and he was laying on the ground. The valet and the chef start saying, he got shot, he got shot. And I said, by who? What happened? I went up to him closely and I noticed he was shot once inside the nose and once in his neck. We immediately called the police. The police came. They pronounced them dead at the scene. It was an extreme shocker for all of us. You just don't know what to think. I was just numb, completely numb. That night was probably one of the scariest nights of my life. I had no idea if these guys were gonna come back, so I just packed my stuff and left. No one really knows exactly what happened. I know he was arguing with someone. I know whoever he called to come meet with him killed him or sent someone to kill him. From my understanding, the police officers did apprehend the suspects a few days later. After this happened, it made me realize that this could be a dangerous business that I'm in. That's something I don't ever want to repeat.